What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy King 053, Mr. Easy Imali Enengi Nengi, and we're back at it again. I'm back at home. I was traveling with work, but now I'm back, and I'm promising you guys I've cleared my schedule for the next 6 days. I'll be giving you content like never before. I'll be covering everything from the Zimbabwean elections, like I'm covering in this specific video. The 31 miners from Lesotho that have passed away sadly in Virginia, Velcom in the Free State. Going to cover a little bit of that. There's a lot of other interesting topics that I want to cover that are very important. So please stay tuned. If you are new to the channel, subscribe and click the like. We're trying to reach this 5,000 subscribers by the end of July. So please consider hitting that subscribe button if you do like the content. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a situation in our hands. We've got a minister from Zimbabwe by the name of Minister Monica. I'm not going to attempt her surname. She was interviewed at SABC by Kathy, beautiful, beautiful, trustworthy reporter in South Africa, and she did a very good job in not only interviewing but asking questions that people want to hear. And you know, it is sad to see the situation in Zimbabwe because I don't only listen to the Zimbabwean politicians. I listen to Zimbabwean residents. I listen to Zimbabwean people in South Africa. I listen to Zimbabwean people on Facebook, on Twitter. I read what the Zimbabwean public is saying about Zimbabwe, and nobody is happy about what is happening in Zimbabwe. I do agree in terms of the government has to take some type of stand when it comes to running the elections, but the type of steps that they have taken is ridiculous. In Zimbabwe, to run for a presidential seat, you have to have over 400,000 rands. 400,000 rands. If you have to do that in South Africa, I think very few people, very few parties will be able to go and get almost half a million rand to register to run for a presidential seat. That is crazy. And to run for a normal parliament seat, you need 20,000 rand. That is crazy. That's, what is happening in Zimbabwe is purely unacceptable. It means that only those who can afford can run for political seats. Let's just quickly hear what on earth this woman was talking about. This minister of communication, the head of communication from Zimbabwe, arrogant lady speaking with confidence, but not realizing that what she's saying is actually pure rubbish. We as South Africans, we are concerned directly about what is happening in Zimbabwe. I even forgot to greet my Zimbabwean people. Mangwana ne makasimba yeri. Takasimba. And what is happening in Zimbabwe is crazy. Let's just listen to this crazy woman. Let me play this woman first and come back to you.
The nomination court, and
but you must be aware of the political candidates that are saying that this price is just simply too much. In South African rand, presidential candidates will have to pay 400,000 rand in order to be able to contest that position. If you want a parliamentary position, it's 20,000 rand.
Kathy, let me say this. In Zimbabwe, the democracy is very open for everybody. And in 42 years, something which had never been happened. Those candidates who ran for presidential candidates, they were all called in by the president, Dr. E.G. Munanga.
But can you say that it's for everybody when you have the kind of threshold that you do in a country that has been economically battered, where we know that the majority of people are struggling just to get by, and you say that it's something that's open for everybody?
Kathy, Zimbabwe is building its own economy. It depends where you're coming from. It can be subjective. Actually, for somebody to come up and pay 20,000 to be a presidential candidate, it's acceptable to the people of Zimbabwe because people are working. We are building our economy. Zimbabwe is building its economy, and we had a lot of people who actually filed their nomination papers yesterday. The issue was raised in Parliament. The complaints were across the board, but this we need also to understand. Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, who are carrying out this wonderful work, they have to have money to carry out the job.
So that means that effectively running for position in Zimbabwe's elections has become a preserve of the elite.
I don't know which candidate was not able to file their nomination papers because the presidential candidate, that is, we haven't heard of any report of anybody who wanted to file for presidential candidate who wasn't able to do it.
So you don't see it as gatekeeping?
It's not a gatekeeping at all. We have to make sure that serious candidates only file for presidential. This is a country where people are serious.
But how does being able to afford 400,000 rand show your seriousness?
Certainly, you need to show your seriousness if you're going to be a leader of a country like Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is not a poor country. We're not going around with a begging power. We are building our economy. The Second Republic has shown that Zimbabwe will benefit a lot from the natural resources we have and the natural human resources. It is not a begging power country. We are building our economy. And people in Zimbabwe are looking at a leader who is serious.
It's not.
This woman says Zimbabwe is not a poor country, doesn't go around begging for things. She's right. Zimbabwe is not a poor country, but Zimbabwe is a country poorly managed, poorly governed. We know what is happening there, where Mnangagwa took over the army to take over power over the former president. And what is happening in terms of when you report negative things about Zimbabwe, which is the reality of what is happening in the ground. They will prison you, they will beat you up. The police will just literally come and beat you up. Freedom of speech does not exist in Zimbabwe. There's no such thing as you talking nonsense like you South Africans. You South Africans speak anything about your president. You speak ill about Nelson Mandela, Thabo Mbeki, Jacob Zuma, and now Cyril Ramaphosa. You South Africans don't care. The media in Zimbabwe has to pay a fee to cover the national elections. Not only that, they have to also alert government and tell them when they will go live. Remember, unlike South Africa, Zimbabwe owns 86% of its publishing media. Zimbabwe owns the media industry. In the Zimbabwean government owns the word that is going out. It owns the media. Only few independent companies, but in those independent companies, there's laws and restrictions on how they can cover things. So if you are a free reporter like myself, freelancing reporter, you are not allowed to talk rubbish about the Zimbabwean government. You need to watch carefully what you say. And if you want to cover the elections formally, you have to register. And after you register, you have to alert them and tell them, listen, on so-and-so date at 6 o'clock, I'll be going live, so that they can monitor everything that you are saying. So don't tell me that the election of Zimbabwe can be free and fair. There's no such thing as free and fair in Zimbabwe. And the Zimbabwean government, their reasoning is because they don't want people going out and speaking bad about Zimbabwe so that they can pose more sanctions into the Zimbabwean government, and as a result, more people are suffering. The sanctions in Zimbabwe don't make sense to me. Why Zimbabwe is sanctioned, and it's not a country that can trade freely. It's rubbish. We as Africa actually must stand up and say, listen, we don't agree with these things that you are doing to Zimbabwe, and we stop trading with Europe and whoever is sanctioning Zimbabwe. We as Africa should take a stand. Why? Because it affects every country around Zimbabwe, especially South Africa. So South Africa should stand and fight these sanctions of Zimbabwe. That's another topic for another day. But when we come to this minister, Monica, who is forever driving luxury cars, dancing, flying in private jets to South Africa, flying everywhere in the world, and showing us that she's living the nice life where poor Zimbabweans are suffering in the ground. ZANU-PF is not going to lose the elections. Ladies and gentlemen, we saw with the gold mafia. You saw I covered gold mafia in this channel. If you don't know what gold mafia is, scroll down and check some videos. Check the videos and check what I said about gold mafia. Zimbabwe's president is a strong man, powerful man. There is no way anyone can take this man out. People are struggling to raise the 400,000, the $20 million, Zimbabwean dollars, or whatever it is, $20 million, or is it? And well, what do you call these people? People who want to presidential potentials who want to run for the elections. They are failing to raise that money. They are failing to register. So Zimbabwe is eliminating many people because of that. So you find yourself in a situation where you are a popular person, but in your popularity, if it does not give you money to register, forget about running for the elections in Zimbabwe. What type of rubbish is this? And they are still standing, say, no, it's free and fair. It's free and fair because you are making the rules. ZANU-PF, they are making the rules. They are running nicely. Took Mugabe out. Took the old man out. The old man overstayed his stay anyway. Mugabe did a great job. One of the best presidents in Africa. His one and only mistake was overstaying his stay on the presidential seat. Now you have Mnangagwa. What do they call him? The crocodile, whatever. That man, you don't mess around with Mnangagwa. He's running that country with an iron fist. So you guys tell me on the comment section. If you're from Zimbabwe, please alert us. Tell us what is going on. Are we crazy as the rest of the world looking at Zimbabwe, thinking that this is pure rubbish? Is everything really okay in Zimbabwe? Is it business as usual? Are you guys happy with your situation in your country? Or are you living in constant fear because of the dictatorship of this government that is running this country? Even on social media, you can't say whatever you want. There have been reporters who have been jailed. Even when the gold mafia episodes came out from Al Jazeera, the Zimbabwean government was sending letters to reporters saying, listen, if you continue reporting this nonsense about our country, we're going to take you to jail. And we have the reporters that stopped. They say, listen, I can't report anymore because I've got a warning from the government. I can't keep on speaking about this gold mafia, how gold is smuggled out of the country. That's very sad what is happening in Zimbabwe. Very sad what is happening in Zimbabwe. And for me, I just want to see how this election is going to go. Are we going to see more violence? The police, the president using the army and the police to beat up people. There was a video that I saw where after voting, the army would check where did you put your cross. And if you put your cross at the wrong place, they will beat you up. In Zimbabwe. My goodness, Zimbabwe. Guys, please, it's your boy King053, Mr. Easy Imali Eneng. If you're enjoying the content, consider to subscribe. Until we meet next time, I salute you.